frightening situation. Where do we stand now? We've been giving this a lot of ongoing coverage since the story has broken. Where do we stand now regarding the Zama Zamas? And the last episode where Becky Cele and there was a big police contingency in Riverlea. What is the situation like at the moment in Riverlea?
Okay. At the moment now, we still have a huge police presence, and they are doing. We also have home affairs, housing, and DMRE on the ground as well. They are busy now identifying all the shacks in the Zamampilo informal settlement. All the shacks that was marked as unused and used for illegal mining and that. What they're busy with, they're removing all those shacks. With the Zama Zamas, the police are busy raiding all those areas where they're mining illegally. So some of them ran to the nearby informal settlement, which is called Kavuki Land, which is in Pennyville area, also part in our ward. Also, some ran to the Florida area, which is called Jerusalem informal settlement, and some also in Crown Mines. So majority of them actually fled the Zamampilo informal settlement. But there's quite a lot of them that is still working underground, and but police are on the ground. I believe that this time definitely, inroads were made, and definitely we'll see results. But as the community stands, that we believe that once Zamampilo is removed, then the community will rest. If Zamampilo is not removed, then unfortunately we're going to continue the fight, and we're going to continue holding those departments accountable. Also, DMR took an undertaking, and they did admit that they're sitting with a rehabilitation funding where CRG used to mine, and they promised by the end of September, majority of the Johannesburg open cast mining, illegal mining in that, all those holes will be closed and rehabilitated. But as a community, we will monitor it closely. We will make sure that it is rehabilitated and not just closed, because they might close it and leave and think, no, they've done us a favor. No, we want proper rehabilitation, because that land where they're doing the illegal mining and that is right on the doorstep of our residents. And it's also, a great concern to us as residents, as where the open cast mining happened with CRG, where the big hole is, right on the doorstep of PCS Horizon Primary School. So it's not just about closing the hole and rehabilitating. We also have to make sure that those kids, and I'm sure, and I'm 100% sure that those kids, if we start testing them via the Department of Health, and that majority of them are affected, if not all, are affected by these mining and illegal mining, and also the cyanide and that. So yeah, it's not just that. We have to follow up and make sure that once these departments move out of our community, all work is done properly. There's rehabilitation, but also accountability for all those kids that are affected. We need to make sure about that one.
Okay. Fuad Erentzen is an activist and a community leader in Riverlea. We're talking about an update on the situation in Riverlea. Are you quite confident that the mining company is going to follow through on all of their promises? You talk about two important factors, rather three, and I'd like you to just explain to our listeners what you mean by that. You talk about all of the mining sites, the holes where the Zama Zamas enter and exit from. You want that closed. That's the demand of the community in Riverlea. That needs to be sealed off. What's your expectations regarding the sealing off of those entrances? Number two, you talk about rehabilitation. What in your mind do you mean by that? Do you mean, when you say rehabilitation, greening of the area, planting of trees, etc., so you make the area environmentally friendly? And last but not least, how do you propose that the children at that particular school are assessed by medical authorities, just to ensure that they are not suffering any side effects from those mining activities? Can you please respond to those three questions?
Okay. The first one, when we look at the illegal mining operations where it's happening, the where Zamampilo is situated, that was supposed to be, it was earmarked for a Muslim Kabristan, for a Muslim graveyard, right? So, and opposite there, behind Riverlea Extension 3, that was supposed to be the Christian graveyard. So we want that whole land, and we want city parks to take charge and to take control and also monitor. So those sites are rehabilitated to spec on how city parks wants it. If city parks does not have any future plans for the land and that, for the graveyards to continue and that, who the private owner is for the Kabristan, then the community should be able to utilize it. We know that no permanent structures can be built on that land, definitely not. But saying that, there is sports facilities that we can use that land for, earmarked for maybe like an economic hub, your flea markets on Saturday, and that rehabilitate it to spec so that community can reuse it. Two, when it comes to closing the shafts and that, DMRE, Department of Mineral Resources, on Friday with a follow-up meeting to the community with all the stakeholders, and a big thank you to the Minister of Police. He really stick to his word. He brought them out, and they all took the undertaking, including housing, that they will then move our South African people out of the camp and then start on that camp. DMRE as well, they took the undertaking that by the end of September, all open shafts, all open holes within our area and down the whole reef will be closed, and proper rehabilitation will happen, and there will be no mining. So we're going to hold them accountable and hold them to their word. As far as the school is concerned, and to me that's of great concern. Those kids, that school can actually, I'm worried how they're going to do the rehabilitation at that hole, that open hole, on the corner of Main Reef and Nazareth, because that school can easily fall in. Because where the hole is right next to the school. And nobody's taking us serious about that. I'm very, very worried about that school. If I was the Department of Education, I will close that school until rehabilitation is done and properly, and for the department also to monitor it. Because any time that school can fall in. So I'm really worried. Stay out of our kids. That's the main problem. What government is doing is wrong. You're allowing licenses and mining permits to these mining giants. And then before they finish mining and they made a lot of money, then they declare bankruptcy, insolvency, and then they're gone. Now we know for a fact when CRG started mining there, they said in the next 5 years they're coming back to finish up. So we know why that mining hole was never closed and rehabilitated. Because if you come back, you have to reapply for a permit. Well, they won't get the license because DRV is sitting with a license. So they'll get a mining permit and they'll pay for it, and they have to give more money to GMRE for rehabilitation. So DMRE has been sitting for 4 or 5 years with the rehabilitation monies for that hole, and they have no intention of spending that money until we made a noise now. And we're saying that money was long time earmarked to close that hole. Why? I'm worried about those kids, and I would love for all media houses to really take that up and highlight it to the world. Those kids are affected.
Okay, very quickly, Fuad, we've got to wrap up now. We're running out of time. Very quickly, are you getting the Department of Health involved to come and test those children? What are your fears? What do you believe that they might be suffering from? Is it issues around upper respiratory conditions, a lot of coughing, etc., asthma? Is it those type of issues you're concerned about?
Yes, definitely, because of the cyanide within that mining area.
And I guess all the
Definitely.
dust, the very fine mine dump, sand dust as well. But are you very quickly? Have you engaged with the Department of Health to come in and start testing these kids?
Yes, we have. We have, but it's slow response. Also, we have a mining forum that works with Benchmark Foundation. So Benchmark Foundation and the mining forum actually use their own resources to get their own medical practitioners out, to do testing on the community. But we haven't done proper testing or went into the school and say, we're shutting down the school for one day. Let us test all those kids. And we have to do it with a secondary school as well because most of those kids already, progress to the secondary school, but they all sitting with the same problem. And in time to come, we might not see it now, but those kids, I, I'm praying to God, I'm making dua that, those kids see the age of 60, 70, it's Allah's will. But those kids later, they're going to have health problems,
Are
definitely.
you
And
saying, Fuad, sorry for the interruption, are you saying that you're already witnessing those kids presenting with upper respiratory problems? Because if so, then you need to shout out very loudly to their parents, to the community, and to the Department of Health, because those kids need to be attended to now. We can't wait for them to reach maturity to say, oh, this was the problem in Riverlea with the Zama Zama illegal mining, etc. That needs to be attended very urgently. And I hope you're going to be active in that regard.
no, definitely, definitely. That's one of the fights that I'm going to be taking up. And the committee that's with me, we are collective of community leaders in that, and we're definitely going to make sure that we take that one up ASAP. I think that one is going to be sorted even before the rehabilitation is done
Okay,
because that is
okay.
priority to us.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm
Yes,
sorry, Fuad, we've run out of time.
can I,
We're going to have to
can I
leave
take
it
a
there.
few
We
more?
will talk with you some more in the future. I do apologize,
No
but we
problem.
have to leave it there.
No
Jazakallah for your
problem.
time. Salaam alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah salam.